are you threatening me? That's Squeak's old house right there. I've worked on that one before. What all I do in there? So I worked on a washer drain, worked on the bathtub, worked on the kitchen sink, something out back. Gas line maybe? I don't remember. That was a long time ago. Ain't that crazy how one can remember certain things like that? I can remember a lot of my jobs from the last 28 years. Last 28 years, I've been an additional 4 years, so the last 32 years. Been retired for 4 years. Golly, time flies. I used to work with Squeak at the grocery store when I was 16. He was probably 18-ish. He used to let me drive his little lowrider all throughout town while he was working. I drove it everywhere. We were buddies. And then one night, I don't even know where we ran into these chicks, but I don't even know where we took them back to. Somebody's house. I don't even know whose house it was. It wasn't James's. Anyway, got to messing with that one chick. That's a smoker, and she was interested in James, so I let her go. And whoever that other chick was, I didn't want no part of that one. Anyway, they ended up having a baby together, him and that girl I was gonna mess with. That night, they had a baby together and was married and all that, all that family stuff. She ended up cheating on him with his best friend later on in life, he said. After we caught up, however many years later, 20 years later, 15 years later. He never done me wrong. He never done me wrong. And in fact, hell, later on in life, I was back in one of my service vans back up by the driveway, and the driveway was kind of cut crooked. I turned right, and the driveway turned left, and there was a big old ditch, and I fell off into the ditch. And the shock mount hit the curb of the concrete and bent everything up. I had to get a new shock. James, he helped me put it all back together. That was after my father passed and wasn't nobody. Anyway, he offered to help me, and that was after 15 years of not even really seeing him, other than a few little jobs here and there for him. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. What's up, pups? Yeah, not many people have. Hey, there's two of y'all. I thought I heard y'all way back yonder. Y'all caught up quick. Snap. Them dogs. I seen some dogs, I think. Same dogs I seen a while ago, I think. We cleaned the sewer on this house when I used to work for my dad way back in the early 2000s. It's the only time I've ever worked on that house. I've worked on I don't know, a whole lot of these houses in this town over a 28-year career, total career. 13 of the 28 were in business. The other 15 were working for my dad. Other than two of them years, I played poker professionally. I started working for my dad in 1998. After he got me in the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union as my family's trade back 4 generations. When I first got, almost first out of high school, almost fresh out of high school, almost fresh. Went to the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Union for 2 years. Got a little experience. Then my dad hired me in 98. I quit him in probably 2002. Went and played poker professionally for two and a half years. Basically begged for my job back because I went broke. But I sure survived and paid my bills for 2.5 years, 2 years anyway. I survived and played a whole lot of poker back in them days. Man, I'm glad that didn't pan out. I would not like to be sitting there playing no poker these days. I am so glad I went bust. Got to retire at 47 years old anyway. Had a heck of an interesting life, that's for sure. Made a lot of money in my life, had a lot of fun. I mean, what's a lot of money to me anyway? I know when I first went in business in 2009, my dad told me I was in better I was in better shape than most of the people in business. Because first of all, I was debt free. And I mean, I could do more work than any of them. Me and Bub, we'd run circles around these dudes. I mean, we could do easily 1.5, 2 jobs to their one. Easily. Sewer cleaning, oh, we smoked. That was my specialty. Sewer cleaning was my specialty. Because my track hoe followed us everywhere we went with it. Whether we were sticking in cleanouts for $800, $900 because they didn't have one, bad spots in the sewer line making $800 to $1,000 instead of, anyway. My dad just taught me how to just shear them. Don't skin them, shear them. These plumbers out here these days, man, they skinning. I mean, I've seen some folks get skinned for no reason. Just shear them, just treat people right. But anyway, that was my philosophy. That's how I was taught. And for that, I had a whole lot of repeat customers. I mean, the majority of my business was repeat customers. And I could turn anybody down. I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to do. I got to pick and choose my work, which was mostly clean. I wouldn't mind doing one good job a week, work real hard one day a week, because that's what bought the tools or the toys. You know, do a $10,000 job once a week, maybe take 2 days to do it. My biggest job ever was $24,000. That was the biggest job I ever did. That's when I was green and fresh in business. I made a little money. I bought my daughter her car. I paid cash for it when she was 16. That's what I did with that money. Bought her first car, paid cash for it, whatever. I forgot how much it was, around 16,000, 17,000. And my next biggest job, which was truly my biggest job, because that job took us, that $10,000, that particular job took me about 4 or 5 days to actually make that kind of money. My biggest job actually was a $10,000 job. We did a street cut, a quarter of a street cut one day to replace a sewer line, and made $10,000 in one day. That was my best day ever, actually, money-wise. Lots of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 days, easy. I was making money hand over fist, learning what to do with it. So I started learning the stock market, world economics, and as I started seeing things the way they were coming, probably about 2016-ish, I started buying all that gold and silver because I seen it coming. Well, what I thought was coming. So I just started doing that. I was still gambling, trying to figure out how the stock market thing, because if you can lose 30,000 in a couple of hours, you can definitely make 60 to 100,000 in a couple of hours, easily. Easily. I lost 30,000 back to back in the stock market. That wasn't too long ago. I've lost a lot of money in the markets. But it was a lot of gambling. I've been a gambler my whole life. Lost my first 20 when I was 8 years old. But now that I'm retired, I look at money a lot different than I did just 4 or 5 years ago. So we're still learning, we're still dibbling in the stock market. The gold and silver's all gone though. That's what purchased my house. 2020 to 2025 were the worst years of my life. There was a lot happened spiritually, physically, emotionally. A lot happened to me from 2020 to 2025, a lot. I mean, an entire life happened within them 5 years. worst years of my life. But we got through that storm. I don't know if we got through it. We probably got pulled through that storm. However that works. It was brutal. I'm just glad I did all that inner work when I was younger. Emotional mastery, and I'm just thankful for all the work I've done up to this point. Still doing a whole lot of work. I work a lot. Things are just different now. It's just different within myself. Not in the world, just within myself. Your perspective flips and you start looking at things differently. I mean, that's what I've done. That's what's happened to me. Once my perspective has flipped, probably within the last 6 to 8 months, things have completely changed within me. Not in this world, within myself. It feels gorgeous out this morning. Absolutely gorgeous. Well rested. Everybody went and got smooth wore out over the weekend. Anyway, I don't want to get off into all that. I was going to go off into another subject / rant. Give my philosophy on, but I'm not going to do it because it don't matter. It ain't going to change nothing. Here's a 10-4 tactical firearms. It's not going to change nothing. 10-4. $4.99. Is that real? There ain't no $5 gas here, is it? Holy shoot, $5 a gallon? Morning. Old Jerry Dog used to work there a long time ago. I've had a couple of vehicles he's worked on for me. Put air conditioner on for me on a 1997 Chevrolet Legacy package conversion. Single cab. There's my hot rod. That was probably my second favorite truck, although it was probably my best old truck. It was probably my best old truck. Not my favorite truck, but my best old truck. Could have drove that thing anywhere in the country. It had over 200,000 miles on it. Didn't drop a drip of oil. Didn't burn a drip of oil. Guy that used to work for me was a mechanic as well, and I kept him on top of that. He jacked the motor up, pulled the oil. I forgot. Anyway, somehow I got all my oil leaks fixed. I think he might have dropped a pan up underneath and put it in. Anyway, whatever he did, he fixed it. He worked on that thing for 2 days, getting all the little drips fixed on the intake manifold. Had a little leak on the intake manifold. I was paying to pull the intake and fix all that. Fix the oil leak that was dripping. Had a brand new transmission installed in it. That was only 75,000 miles though. Had a little over 200. I was gonna go to Tunica and play poker with that $2,000 that year. Had 75,000 miles on my truck. Damn transmission went out. I had $2,000. I think that transmission, it was a Jasper transmission, plus labor was right around $2,000. So I didn't get to go play poker at that time. Had to put a tranny in it. I got to play a lot of poker. I had a lot of fun. Missed out on a lot though. But you can't take it back. You know, just can't take it back. For whatever reason, that was the path I chose. Chasing that dollar, having a good time, and left my family at home. That's what I did. And after 31 years, once the kids is all grown and moved out, got grandkids, and they move off to another state. And then my wife retired in 2016. I retired in 2022. By then, hell, we didn't even know each other because we might have seen each other, you know, we've seen each other every day, but it was just, just because I was doing my thing. You know, I was trying to learn everything I was learning and working. Going, keep my body in shape. I was putting in 18 hours a day between working out, riding dirt bikes, working on dirt bikes, everything I was trying to learn, and I didn't even spend time with my wife. And now that I have all the time in the world, her and I grew apart, and she split. She took her half. She took the rest of what gold we had, and I added it up, and I probably owe her another $20,000. But someday, if she ever needs it, for sure, if I'm ever in that position again, I'd do anything for her because I would not be who I am without her. Without love, woo, I would have been a bad mother sucker in a lot of ways. Dead or in prison, probably. So I'm very thankful for my wife. She raised me and my child. I was just a boy. At 20 years old, I was a boy. And she is a little, not even, I mean, she wasn't even, she raised me and my child and raised herself. Because we didn't know nothing. At 18, 19 years old, we didn't know nothing. Yep, she's my number one. I mean, I put her on that pedestal just for what she done for me, so. And what she didn't do to me. And she will always be my number one pedestal. And my father, my dad, is right there next to her. Them was my two best people in this life. It's gonna be very hard for anybody to top them two steeples. To get on that platform. It's gonna be very hard for anybody to reach that platform in this life. I don't know no gods nothing. I don't know nobody nothing. For what I was given. I am completely debt free. Completely debt free. I don't owe nobody nothing. No individual. I owe zero individuals anything. I owe a couple of corporations. But oh well, that's just legal. You can get out of that legally. I owe zero individuals. After I went out of business, my business insurance elapsed, and I've never had a water leak in my life. And in the 13 years I was in business, I never flooded somebody's house, ever, because I always triple checked all my work. And after I went out of business and my insurance lapsed, I got a claim on me for like $40,000, claiming I flooded their home. And the insurance company sent me a picture of where the pipe came apart, and it was definitely, it had to be pulled apart. It had to be pulled apart. It was just old PEX line with a crimp ring on it, but the crimp ring was completely smashed on that 90. There's no way it came off the top of that 90 the way it showed. It's impossible. I would have caught it. Anyway, there wasn't nothing to catch. The crimp ring was completely squished. And it was after like a year. It was a year and 3 months after I had done the job. And I still got hit with that. I mean, it was over even if it did happen where I flooded the home, which I know it didn't happen. You know, it was definitely fraud. I just got linked in on it somehow, but so I owe them $40,000, the insurance company, but that's no big deal. They have to, there ain't nothing they can do. Nothing they can do, nothing they can garnish, nothing. All they can do is put a lien on my house. They have to renew that every 5 years, and after 20 years, who cares? I will never sell another house again. I've given away see how many homes do I sold on to. At roughly 15,000 a piece. I've given away close to 45,000 in fees just selling houses. I'll never sell another house. Let's see, 12. Buying and selling homes, it's probably roughly around 45,000. Buying and selling homes. Just in fees, ain't that crazy? Just to sign a couple of pieces of paper, but that's the route I want to take for the security, because it goes through the title companies and all that. Make sure there's no liens on it, and just make sure it's all legit. You know, it was always worth the extra $10,000 to $14,000. When we sold our house to build the big house, it cost me roughly, I don't know, 14,000 to sell that little house out there. I say little. It was a nice home. Yeah, so I've never wanted to do rent houses. Man, hindsight's 2020 though. I made a lot of financial mistakes in my life, but hey, when you don't know and you just learn along the way, and you catch ideas here and there and you practice them, hey, it's just a trial, and life is trial and error. It's what life's all about. Living, screwing up, fixing, overcoming. I love it. Gosh damn, after 51 years, it's time for something different, something better. And we're on that route right now. We're working it. Life is becoming good again. They've removed the PDT rule, pattern day trading rule, where before you used to have $25,000 in the account to be able to day trade, which gave you $100,000 in buying power. But they've lifted that rule where, if you got $100, you can day trade. Anybody can. I mean, you ain't gonna make much with $100, but if you can come up with 2,000 and open you a margin account, 2,000 will get you 4,000 in buying power. 4,000, you can do some damage. You can make $100 to $150 fairly easily a day with a $4,000 buying power, pretty easily. So that's the route I'm back on. Don't give me $1 million. Teach me how to make $1 million. So I do know the journey. I would have already been there if I wouldn't have had my setback 4 years ago. I would have been a millionaire by now. If my path didn't take a different turn. But I don't question it anymore. It doesn't matter. I was in the six figures. I had so much money, I didn't know how much money I had. I was just stacking, piling, and learning, and playing, and investing. And just living, and then just all of a sudden, I got rug pulled completely. That quick, in one day, rug pull. Wake up, boom, rug pull. Complete life rug pull. Wow, what a freaking storm. Kind of like how a devastating storm comes across, tornadoes, earthquakes, whatever you want, and just destroys instantly everything, a whole population instantly. That's how my life was. What happened to my life in one day, May 22nd, 2022. things begin happening in 2020. In May 22nd, 2022, rug pull. Woo-wee. Talk about the last 4 years of healing of a lot of things. There's a lot that went on within myself in the past 4 years. A lot. Yeah. This entire block right here that I have you looking at right there right now, that entire squared block, that was an empty field, and they moved all these homes in to widen the street, one of the main streets here in town. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting time to be learning about things. I mean, I didn't even know that stuff was possible where they could move houses back then like the way they did. Just move them right down the street, disconnect everything and move them right down the street like they're trailers. It's crazy. My uncle had a big 2-story cut in half and moved way out in the country. They split it right down the middle, a big old home. I mean, it was however big it was, a 5,000 square foot 2-story. Split it right in half and took it all the way from in town, freaking 10 miles out into the country. Put it all back together. Huh? How's that? I mean, I wouldn't want that house. They sure lived in it for a long time. Last I knew, he's passed and gone now, but last I knew the farmhouse was still out there. That's been many moons ago. Many, many moons. That was my dad's uncle, actually, my great uncle. Yeah, I used to work for the people that managed all these homes. See, that's the thing. People would just buy these houses and not even live in this town. It's like they knew the future of this town. There's one guy who owns over 100 freaking homes in this town. I never got to work for him. Nobody really works for him. He just hires his own. That's how I would do it if I was into the rental business. Just have me a crew. I'd have me an HVAC man, a handyman, just hopefully a find two that can do it all. Two of the, jack of all trades type to run 100 homes, maybe 3 people. 2 to 3 man crew that's able to jack of all trades type thing, mowing and everything. Electrical, plumbing. For 100 homes, yeah, I'd probably have about 3. At least 2. If the workload became too much for 2, we'd definitely go 3, but for sure 2 with 100 homes. I worked for many of these landlords that would call you out on a drippy faucet. You cannot be giving up $150 of your income on a drippy faucet. You cannot. Not as a landlord. Unless you just have 1 or 2 homes and you just take the hits. But if you have several, 20 to 25 is a full-time job. 20 homes is a full-time job. 20 apartments, whatever, however you want to do it. I don't know that I'd want no apartment buildings. Single-family dwellings versus The only good thing about an apartment dwelling is everything's right there in the same vicinity. As long as all your homes are in one town, hell, you good anyway. I just didn't want to stick around. That's why I didn't want to. The whole point of that story was I did not want rent homes. I seen what people did to them. I mean, you can easily cause. I've seen $15,000, $20,000 worth of damage. I've heard $20,000 worth of damage done. What people can do, and there's nothing you can do. You can take them to court and sue them, but get judgment. But if they never have anything, you'll never get anything. So I didn't want to do the rental, so I learned the stock market because I can do that from anywhere in the world with my telephone. And so that's what I learned, was the stock market. And man, let me tell you, it costs money to learn. Lots of money. Man, with the knowledge I have now, with the money I've lost in the past, the money that I've lost in the past, with what I could do with now with my knowledge, holy shoot, man. But that's the part of learning. That's just part of it. Once you realize how money's created, it don't matter anyway. It's just a way to measure. But like my dad says, we definitely have to have it to survive, because that's just part of the system. But I know the road I know the road to make all the money, to be able to survive and keep up with inflation anyway. We'll see if I succeed or not. Only time will tell. I'm well determined though. That's one thing about me. I don't know what's within me, but man, determination definitely dwells within me. Has since I was a child. No surrender. I mean, you pick your battles. Sometimes you gotta surrender to regain strength. Or soldiers, money. You know, I look at money like soldiers. They're my little, I'm sending all my troops in. And I'm gonna protect them troops with everything I got. Just like I'm the king of, the ruler of them. Before, I just sent dollars out, It didn't matter if I made them or lose them, because I was going to print some more tomorrow. It didn't matter. The government made more money tomorrow, I'm going to make more money tomorrow. That's how I used to look at it. It wasn't nothing to go out and make $4,000 in a couple of days. It was nothing. It was so easy. But it's not like that no more. So I'm sending my troop. I look at it now like the 300 versus 10,000. I'm gonna send my little 300 troops to conquer the 10,000 troops. Whatever story that was. And we are going to battle. My main goal is just to keep up with inflation, which I think I can do that. I'm able to take a third of my first retirement check and reinvest it. Ain't that cool? Being able to reinvest a third of my retirement, my first retirement check onto my second retirement check. And I'm only 51 years old. I mean, over the next 15 or 20 years, you know how much money I'm gonna be able to accumulate? I've got nothing but time to be strategic. Got nothing but time. Unless I croak over right here, and I have no regrets if that happens either. Zero regrets in this life. I wouldn't take a single word back I've ever spoken, an action I've ever done. I would not, if I was able to go back in time, or when I go back in time, I wouldn't change a single thing. Up to this point right here. There aren't many people built like me in this world. I've searched high and low. Not many people built like me. They threw away the cookie cutter whenever they made me. It's a beautiful morning out this morning, guys. We got to go get some marijuana here in a minute. We're out. Smoked my last joint last night. Whew. Oh, good stretch. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll be back live in a few minutes. I gotta use the restroom, and we're gonna run down across town and get some marijuana. Found me a new spot. There's some spots right around here, but I found a new spot. There's some pretty good marijuana. We're gonna go get some more. Buds were big and nice and tight for the same price that it was like the exotic flower that this one place sells for $30 for 3.5 grams, which I get 7 grams for $25. That big, nice, juicy nugs. Man, it was good. But anyway, we're about to go run and pick that up, go use the restroom, and I'll be back live here directly. Y'all hang tight. Here we go.